do.
I got you, bro. No, that sounds good.
Fuck yeah. What's up, guys? Getting the Instagram live going here. And then we'll kick off with an introduction. But welcome in, YouTube. Welcome in, welcome in. As you can see, we got a new special guest here.
Woo.
The Instagram live is being lame. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another weekly episode of Insider Betting, where we give you guys our best picks and predictions for whatever upcoming UFC card is on the weekend. This week, UFC Nashville, Derek Lewis versus Talison Teixeira, undefeated prospect against a 40-year-old veteran in Derek Lewis. I'm very excited for that main event. But as you can tell, we got a special guest here today, Hayden, best comic journalist in the MMA space right now. If you don't know who Hayden is already, I'm going to pass it over to him to give himself a little self-introduction here.
Dude, that's pretty good. That's hype, man. I appreciate it. I'm Hayden. I host Man on the Mat for Inside Fighting. You guys can check all my socials out, similar to Cody's at Hayden Talks IF. So another Inside Fighting guy as well. Host a show where I interview fighters while trying to spar them. I explain that to people a couple times, and they don't really get it, and I just got to show them the videos, man. It's always a way to do it. I do it in a suit. We get pretty beat up, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a good time, man.
It's a super interesting content, and you're blowing up on Instagram, man. You already hit 10K, and
yeah.
How long have you been doing this already? Like just a few months, right?
Yeah, I think we've been doing the show for only a couple months. Technically, we started in January, but then like shelved it for a little bit, and then only recently started up again. But it's getting more popular, and we're getting bigger and bigger names. So we have some pretty cool stuff. We were talking offline about that before we started here. So super excited.
Yeah, he just spoiled me a huge guest that we're going to be having on Man on the Mat. So I'm sure you're super excited for that one. I'm excited for that one. So hype,
man. Scared, but hype, dude. It's gonna be it hits the ground with that guy. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, dude, excited to be here. Excited to put my 2 cents in. I don't know shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody here knows anything as far as advising bets goes. But we'll do our best.
Well, I've been losing. If you are a fan of the show and you do tune in every week at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, I don't have the best record with my picks, so maybe you give some charm. You give in some picks, and let's see how you do. Maybe you come on now and then if your picks are hitting. Who knows?
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I would like that. That would be good. I know. I'm also losing a decent chunk.
I'd love for us to almost have like a friendly competition in a way, like where everybody on the team gives their picks on like our website or something, and then you could kind of stay up to date with who's got the team. Yeah, something I've been thinking about for sure.
I think you'd have to break that down specifically though, because obviously there's so many fights going on. Like they would have to pick, like, you'd be like top 3 fights on a card, which would probably be a main co-main and then featured bout. But
when it gets into these prelims, we're looking like to break these down. It's not it's kind of just luck of the draw. You're going with a huge favorite here to start off the prelims in Fatima Klein going up, and both of these girls, like you mentioned to me before we started the stream, just 1-0 in their UFC careers, correct?
No, I'd say they only have 1 loss. I don't know necessarily what their records are specifically, because these are professional records, not necessarily all in the UFC. But I mean, they both have 1 loss by unanimous decision. So that's the only thing that I saw on their profiles, and I don't know, other than like I don't really know enough to be like why Fatima is the huge favorite, but I would go with her. Maybe it's the height and reach advantage over here. We got 5'6" versus a 5'2". I don't know.
I believe that is what it is. She's going to have a significant like advantage in the size. I think she's going to be like thicker, heavier punches, kicking, controlling the fight. But this being a negative 1,200 favorite, you should put her away in the first round. You should absolutely dominate if it goes 3 rounds, like unanimous decision. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is a pick you want to be throwing in the parlay. I'm just going to be honest. It might ruin your parlay. Kick off your night. You throw $100 on your parlay, put this in it, and you lose right off your first bet. Don't do it. Just be safe. If you're watching this one, go ahead and watch it for the fun. But I might miss this one. I'm not going to be rushing to my seat for this one, I don't think. But
Yeah, I
this
think
next,
they may have it at the beginning of the night because they're like, well, it's everybody needs a popcorn fight, something to get the food heated up, make sure they grab the pizza from the concession stand in Nashville before they sit down. No offense to these ladies. I mean, both could probably destroy me, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It's not top billing, we'll say.
yeah, me too, bro. Even though they're 115 pounds, if you're in the UFC, you could probably beat my ass. So can't talk too much shit on it. I'm excited to see. Maybe it's a setup for a big knockout for Fatima Klein, and this
Yeah,
catapults her up into the division.
yeah,
But
that's true.
that's how I'm
Uh,
kind of seeing out this next one with Mike Davis. I feel like he's a huge favorite on here as well
yeah,
against Mitch Ramirez. And I just feel like this is a setup fight for Mike Davis to bounce back from his last loss where it was a competitive fight. But I think this is a setup for him to get a knockout here.
yeah, I agree. I had Mike Davis by decision, and it seems like in all of his fights, he can kind of really weather some storms, I'd say. But it's definitely if it goes either knockout or I would say a UD over this guy. No offense to Mitch Ramirez, I know, but sometimes we do see some of these lopsided setups from the UFC a little bit. And yeah, I think it's a good way for Mike Davis to get back in the win column.
Yeah, both of them 32 years old. Mike Davis has a slight reach advantage, 4 inches. Mitch Ramirez just lost to Thiago Moises in the first
So yeah,
and third round knockout. So seems like he could weather the distance for a bit, but once it gets into those later rounds, he's going to tire out, and that's where Mike
yeah,
Davis kind of turns it on. So look at
yeah.
his physique compared to this guy. I think he's just built different, man, and we're going to see
I
his.
was looking at abs and stuff. I don't know. They're both pretty ripped up, different body types here. Um, and a little bit more of a reach advantage for Ramirez, but as we talked about, I don't know. Like Mike Davis tends to keep a pretty standard stance. I mean, nothing too.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Win by KOs about the same.
Yeah,
Average fight time. Okay, it's not
there,
updated for Mike Davis. Yeah, it's not updated for Mike Davis, unfortunately.
Ah,
But
damn.
this one I feel more confident putting my money on or adding to the parlay. It is again a negative 1,000 favorite, so I think you have to put like $100,000 to win $100. So it's not the best value there, but
Yeah,
could be a good first leg if you're throwing them in by knockout, which I might do.
yeah, absolutely.
This next fight, kind of exciting actually. Walter Walker, Johnny Walker's brother, against Kennedy Nizichukwu.
Is it Chikwe? Yeah.
Nizichukwu. I'm big on this guy. I've been loving his recent fights, but I've also been liking Johnny Walker's.
Walter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Walter Walker's recent fights as well. But Walter Walker, in his debut, if I've not forgotten, he didn't look the greatest. He was kind of getting pieced up on the feet, but then he got the heel hook submission, and then he got another heel hook submission. So once he gets it to the ground, he's dominant on the ground. It's going to be tricky to get Kennedy to the ground. I believe he defended 16 takedowns from Paul Craig when he fought Paul Craig, but then Paul Craig actually got a submission on him to end the fight. So
That's what I saw this going as is the same way. It's like Walter Watkins does a decent amount from his back specifically. It's and he's I mean, no offense to Johnny, but he seems to have pretty solid jujitsu. Not that Johnny doesn't, but we always see Johnny knock guys out. I would say the thing about I would almost see it as like if there's a knockdown and Kennedy doesn't put him out, which Kennedy has really good hands, Kennedy doesn't put him out immediately, then I would say then Walter might like lock up that heel hook again. I know he had that controversial. Remember exactly what happened with was it Justin Taffa? I think there was
yes,
something controversial about that submission, but Taffa like slapped him afterwards. But I mean, he got it.
yeah, that was a weird one. I think he like yelled, and then that's what triggered the ref to stop the fight because if you voice yourself,
Oh
like
yeah, vocally tap. Yeah.
tap. Yeah, so that's what happened, and he was kind of pissed off because he was like, I didn't tap, but you
Right.
screamed like your leg was about to snap in half. So they stopped that one. So he's really deadly on the ground, but I do think he's a little slower on the feet. And Kennedy is so rangy, so sharp with his kicks. He's got the reach advantage. It's a 210 centimeter to 199. So he's got like about a 11-inch
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say thanks for putting that in for us here in America, Cody. I don't really know exactly
Yeah,
what that meant.
yeah. So he's got a big reach advantage. I think he has more experience in the UFC as well. He's fought in some tougher guys, and I'm just kind of on the Walker brothers, to be honest. I'm not sure how motivated they are to get to the top. Walter Walker's a huge guy. He can land a knockout. He can land the submission. So there's finishing upside on Walker. But I just think if it goes the distance, Kendi might win this one unanimously. I think he's just going to win each round.
Yeah, he's got surprisingly fast hands for how big of a dude he is. I mean, I forgot which knockout I watched, but he was like, I mean, he threw a 3-4 like so quickly. For just pretty explosive dude. And yeah, to your point, Volta has a tendency to keep his hands low. I'm gonna go, and this is me not throwing in a parlay, but I would say, because I like taking a risk, I would say Walter Walker by submission, but I would not advise anybody else to say that.
It's a fun one, and I do watch other shows just so I could prepare myself for this one, and that does seem to be like the popular pick in this fight. I see a lot of meaning for Walter Walker.
Oh, really? Okay, I got you. All right, so I don't find sound
not as worse as a pick as you may think. Really upset that this UFC page isn't loading for me. It gives us better,
it's all good
on the fights, but it is what it is. Getting into the next one here. Lauren Murphy versus Eduardo Mora. 41 years old versus 31 years old. I'm not sure the odds on this one because we don't the website's not loading up for me.
I don't know I can try pulling it up on my end.
I want to see,
but I assume it's lopsided probably for Eduardo Mora.
41-year-old girl is just man. Is this a setup? Is this one?
I think so.
Yeah. She is a big favorite over the 41-year-old for sure.
Yeah, and also her record's pretty I was going through it. I mean, she's all over the place with how she's getting fights done. Yeah, she's minus 700 favorite, Eduardo Morris. And yeah, her record's 11-1 coming up against Lauren Murphy, vet, known her for a while, super, absolute legend, we'll say in the division, but she's 16-6. You know what I mean? Again, that age, which again is going to be a huge piece of which is also going to be a huge piece of the main event, as we're going to talk about as well. I think this is one of those sports where it's like that's like football, that it's like you just slowing down a little bit, and it gets you, and age shows from fight to fight.
I'll respect her as well. She's got to be a legend still fighting. Looks like Jim Miller, so she's give her the Jim Miller treatment here and be like, respect for still fighting, but we don't necessarily need you to stick around. And yeah, I don't know what her aspirations here are fighting on the prelims of a UFC card. Like, you gotta have to have the aspirations to be in title contention, climb the rankings if you want to be successful in the UFC. And I'm just not sure if her mindset's on the same track as somebody who's younger, has a 11-1 record from Brazil, representing, right? So I'm definitely going to leave it, lean towards Eduardo Mora.
Yeah.
Personally.
100%.
Again, this might be a pee break fight for me, to be honest.
I don't think Lauren Murphy's going to also appreciate that you said she looks like Jim Miller.
She looks like a cute Jim Miller.
Not maybe Jim Miller might take that offensively.
Jim Miller, you're cute as well.
Yeah. He's got a beautiful face. Kind features. Jim Miller.
Both these ladies are absolutely gorgeous and beautiful and stunning and shouldn't be fighting each other. They should be at home. Okay, next fight.
It's worse and worse.
I'm going to get canceled too early. Jake Matthews versus Chidi Njokuani. Njokuani. I love this guy. He's been showing out his last few fights. He just got a finish in his last fight, which I predicted he was going to win by finish. And then Jake Matthews, in my opinion, he's kind of all over the place. He's a decision fighter. He called out Neil Magny after his last win because I think that was the one fight where he's like, I can knock out Neil Magny. That will put me up into the division. He's not going to knock out Chidi. He's got the range. He's just, I think he could clean Jake Matthews within the first 2 rounds. I don't think this one's going the distance.
Chitty's mostly a striker though. I do see Jake Matthews like out, I mean he's got a decent wrestling. It's kind of that grindy mindset. If it doesn't go Chitty by knockout, I would see Jake Matthews just, what I mean, like grinding down on top of guys. He does have a couple subs underneath
He
his name
does.
as well.
He does.
And not that Chitty's a bad on the ground, but he's just really well known for his striking. So if it doesn't go early with Chitty knocking him out, then I would see Jake Matthews maybe like taking it.
Yeah, so we see decent takedown accuracy from Jake Matthews, but I don't see him utilizing it in his fights. Like honestly, there's fights where it just turns into a brawl where he's just boxing, he's more heavily boxing, and he's not switching up his style enough. And if he's just boxing against Chitty, he's not going to be able to get into the range. He's not going to be able, and if he starts shooting the takedowns in desperation, he's got decent takedown defense. He's a big, tall, strong guy. He's going to be hard to take down. I compare Chitty to kind of like a Randy Brown, and I don't see Jake Matthews being able to step in against Randy Brown right now. I don't think he's at that top skill level where I think Chitty is still climbing, and I think Jake Matthews is just kind of stagnant, and I hope he proves me wrong. Just every time I get behind Jake Matthews, he lets me down every single time. Yes. One of those where Chitty's always got my back. I predict him to get the knockout. He gets the knockout. I'm going to do it again here. Chitty by knockout. Under.
I mean, first of all, I did not know, I should have done better research. I did not know that his takedown defense percentages was at 75%. That's crazy. Yeah. So that's already nuts. And then also, like, you look at the reach disadvantage between the two of these guys. I mean, 73 to 80 is like pretty nuts. And you could look at that as like you keep him on the end of a jab, but also look at that as like second a guy shoots, you got longer arms, you can absolutely throw in some underhooks underneath the guy and sprawl pretty well. So I agree with you. I'd go Chitty by knockout here.
I think kicks are going to play a huge part for Chitty too. Like once he gets his kicks going, if he's landed 60 kicks in this fight in 15 minutes and Jake lands like 10, that's a huge difference. And I think it could look like that. So I think he's going to just keep in that range, keep Jake looking pretty one-dimensional. And then second, third round, if it gets there, Jake will probably start to mix it up. And I just don't think he'll see much success. He'll be tired. And so bad opponent for Jake Matthews, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Max Griffin versus Chris Curtis. Where has Chris Curtis been since that Roman Kopylov loss? Probably just coping and trying to figure out his life. He was very upset that that fight got called a knockout. There was like 5 seconds or a few seconds left in that fight in the third round. Roman Kopylov hits him with a strike. It knocks him down. Roman Kopylov walks away, and the ref calls it.
Yeah, and
so it was pretty weird. This is a welterweight bout. He usually fights at middleweight, so he is going down, as you can see here, the weight 185 to 170. Max Griffin, he's a prelim fighter. This is right where the fight should be, feature fight on the prelims. I'm going to go Chris Curtis here. I think he's just trains better. He's more experienced. I think the age for Max Griffin, he may be a little older, but I think the experience still lies with Chris Curtis. Yes, 39 to 37. So I do think Chris Curtis has more UFC fights as well.
Yeah, definitely does.
So,
and I was also going to say to the point, I mean, if you looked it up, Max Griffin, I think, is coming off a loss to Chiesa, coming off a sub loss to Chiesa. I think the size is going to be a huge deal, specifically here. I think
huge.
I mean, Chris Curtis has got an ass on him, dude. I mean, the fact that he can make, this weight is nuts. And also like, there's a lot of footage of Max Griffin kind of weathering the storm in a lot of his fights. I mean, dude's got a chin, it's pretty incredible, but like, weathering the storm is not the same as answering to super high volume strikes. And I think, Chris Curtis is, as we know, like just super high volume dude. So, I agree. I'm gonna go. I said Curtis by UD because I know that I know Max Griffin has that chin, but
I like that unanimous decision. Yeah, I think he edges out each round. I don't think he'll allow himself to lose a round in this one, and I don't see him getting taken down. He's got
Yeah.
great takedown defense. He's going to have the size advantage. If he is getting it in on the feet and he's starting to lose those exchanges, he can kind of clinch him up against the cage, try and get the leg trip takedown and hold him and ground and pound, and then edge that fight out with the control time and significant strikes. So I think he has if he sticks to a good game plan here against Max Griffin, it shouldn't be a tough night in the office for him. But he's been in wars before, so who knows what this fight could look like. It could just be on the feet in the middle of the octagon for 15 minutes and have everybody in the arena on their feet by the end of it, because he knows how to entertain the fans. I just hope he doesn't put himself in harm's way and gets knocked out and it's a bad storybook ending for Chris Curtis, because I don't know how long he'll stick around for. He's been battling.
You said what, he was 39, you said?
37. Max Griffin 37. Is actually older. He's 39, so he's getting to the end of his career probably.
Here.
We'll see if he loses to Chris Curtis. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him on one of those fighter removed posts, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not looking great for him. But yeah, final pick. I like Chris Curtis as well by unanimous decision. I like that pick a lot.
Nice.
Awesome. That's it with the prelims. We usually don't break down the prelims that much, but I did like a few of these fighters on this prelim card.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty interesting, especially that last one there.
Junior Tafa, they actually updated his picture, I believe, to light heavyweight, so he looks a little
slimmer.
Fat. Yeah, and then Tukos. I think it's Tukos, but Tacos is pretty. Tafa, not somebody that I've been huge on. He is not the best fighter. I'm just being completely honest.
I think it's largely, everybody knows about the Tafa brothers. I think Jack Sock always has a running joke about it, where he's like, you could just put in one Tafa brother or the other Tafa brother. He's like, that's the way. But I mean, props to these guys though, because the UFC tends to use them a lot, and they seem to just say yes. I mean, they're kind of they're kind of dudes like anytime, anywhere, any place, like that. And you got to respect that to a degree. I think that does affect your record, obviously. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Sorry, and not to interrupt you. Keep going.
No, I think that's a great point that you mentioned. It shouldn't affect, like, he has those 3 losses to his record, but because he's staying so active, he's kind of just being on call for the UFC. So we shouldn't judge him off of those losses. He still is young. He's making a smart career move right now by cutting the weight, getting himself in shape, and not fighting at heavyweight, fighting at light heavyweight, because I don't know, it's something with these Samoans. They just think they could just eat whatever they want and fight heavyweight, and just that's what they're going to do. That's just who they are. But I'm glad that he's making a smart career move here and fighting at division.
Hey man, I'll tell you from as a guy who's half Filipino, sometimes it's not even about what you think you can make. It's just literally about the food that's being served to you. It's all fried foods and rices, man. It's like hard to get around it. It's like you're gonna weigh in heavier than you think you're gonna.
Yeah. But it's good, these light heavyweights, some heavyweights, like we just seen with Jamal Hill. I'm not sure if you saw this, but he made a video coming out after the Khalil loss, and he said, in my last few fights, I've actually weighed 265 plus in my training camps, and my training camps have just been me dieting and getting down to light heavyweight. So it's like, you got to make the career move of like, am I going to diet? Am I going to train? Am I going to take this seriously? And I think that's where Junior Tafa is making the decision right now. And he's still young. He's making that decision at 28. I think Jamal Hill is like 30 something. So, he's making a good move right now. And Tuco Tacos, this is a great setup for him. He's 35, same range, similar reach, but I don't see Tuco's Tacos being any problem for Tafa, even though Tafa is not the most crisp guy. I don't know where Tacos is better than him at.
I don't know. It also seems like Tacos is coming off 2 losses. It seems like it's 10-5 to Tafa's 6-3, which is, we say relatively comparable, but that's more fights in general. And I think wear and tear on some of these, heavier dudes, especially as they're coming down, is pretty hard on the body. So I actually was going to say Tafa by KO. Because I just think wear and tear is hard on some of these guys.
Yeah, I could see him pressuring him up against the cage, landing some elbows, knocking him down, getting the TKO stop, and just ground and pounding him.
For sure.
Tukos lost to Navio Sterling. I think that was in his debut. Tacos only landed 32 strikes in that fight. Then he fought Umar Sky and was submitted in the first round, only landing 4 strikes in that fight. So I think it's going to be a pretty quick finish here if Junior Tafa is as in shape and has the power and
is on his game,
on his game where I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, you said they updated the picture, man. I mean, he looks sexy here, dude. This is taking a run for it. Is that for the best we've seen him look?
Yeah, bro, he looks dialed. He's getting a little definition in there. Top abs coming in.
Top abs coming in. Yeah, there's no in light heavyweight. You don't have to have bottom abs unless you're fighting in the top, 3. We'll say you don't have to have bottom abs at light heavyweight.
That is hilarious. But yeah, I think this fight just goes right to the middle. Tafa is just going to continue pressuring this fight. Grappling, yeah, he has better takedown defense.
Yeah,
33. So yeah, I think it stays on the feet, and Tafa just has a night. Austin Lane, former NFL defensive lineman, going up against Vitor Petrino, who was recently fraud checked, I believe. Vitor Petrino.
Who did he lose to? Yeah.
Who did he lose to? He lost to someone. Dustin Jacoby knocked him out in the third.
That's what it was.
That's what it was. And then Anthony Smith also won a submission in the first round against him.
Damn.
Yikes. You don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to see a loss on your career to Anthony Smith, but he's making a jump up now to heavyweight. This is actually the opposite of Tafa. This guy looks absolutely massive compared to his last updated picture. He looks way swoller, way bigger, which is what he needs. Austin Lane has very heavy hands. He'll pressure you. He'll throw big bombs, but he kind of walks forward with his hands down, and then he gets knocked out.
It's more that his chin's high, I would say.
His chin's high, and his hands are low-key down. And, he got knocked out by Minto Pinto something.
Who is it?
Mario Pinto.
Yeah.
Minto Pinto.
Yeah, he's got 3 also. Oh wow. He lost to the other Tafa.
He lost to the other Tafa. Austin, man, I love Austin Lane. We've had him on interviews before, and I always root for him, and he always lets me down too. It's scary to pick him. He's an underdog here as well, big underdog.
It seems like Vitor Petrino over here. I'm not going to make any accusations, but it seems like he's taking advantage of the fact that USADA is no longer part of the UFC. I would say.
I think you're right on that one, man. Looks absolute juiced.
If you lined both these guys up here and you're like, guess which one of them played in the NFL, you'd be like, I mean, I'm gonna go Brazilian over here. I just saying, but you never know. Yeah, we'll see. This would be a fun one.
I love this fight. 27 to Vitor Petrino to 37 to Lane. So, and I'm also seeing that I'm pretty sure his name's Austin Lane, right? But on Google, his name's Dejon Lane. So maybe he swapped his name here. Who knows what he's got going on outside of the octagon right now? If he's changing his actual legal name, that could be a distraction. I don't love to see that.
Yeah,
he does have a little reach advantage. So, I mean, if he could apply the pressure, kind of start counter striking, controlling the center of the octagon, that's where he'll have an advantage in this fight. If he's getting walked down, he's gonna get clipped. He's gonna get hurt, and he's shown that he doesn't have the best chin. So I love cheering for Austin Lane. I don't think this is one that I could do it in. I want to see Vitor Petrino rise in the heavyweight. I need somebody new in the heavyweight division to cheer for and see that division kind of stack up with bigger and bigger names, bigger and bigger prospects. I don't think that's Austin Lane, unfortunately. I'm going to pick Vitor Petrino here. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets the KO.
Yeah. Well, I will say that because how many fights does Petrino have at heavyweight?
This is his debut.
So sometimes you do see guys come up and you're like, man, they're looking slower and bigger. But I don't know. This guy's like such a unit. And it seems like he's been so smart with his career, relatively. I mean, obviously got project recently, but like that's, made a change. So, I would say always usually in general go with the guy who's more comfortable at the weight, but in this specific instance, I'm going to agree with you, Cody. And I think Vitor Petrina's, I mean, he looks like a unit, dude. He's going to
Yeah.
come in there and absolutely just take some heads off.
When the fighters are making a change in their camps and they're making smarter decisions and they're trusting their body, they're not doing an extreme cut and then getting knocked out like that. Maybe that's what happened when he got fraud checked by Jacoby. Maybe it was just like
Good point. Yeah,
third
it was
round,
cut.
he's exhausted, didn't have the cardio here. We'll see. Even if this goes the distance, I think Vitor is going to edge it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you're taking it by knockout.
But I will take him by knockout. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Austin Lane's going to get slept again.
I
Unfortunately.
hope not, but yeah.
I hope not. This is also another fighter that I could see fighter removed list. Just being completely honest.
On the chopping block.
Yeah. I think he's right there. If he doesn't, and he's been there a few times. I thought he was there in his last fight against Pinto and against Despain. And then he beat Despain in a decision.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He kept him around, gave him another prospect. He lost. This is another prospect. If he loses again, it might be the end. But I do like him. Might see him in the NFL eventually. Who knows? Nate Landwehr, Morgan Charrier.
Oh, yeah.
Nate the Train. He's back.
Nate the Train, baby.
In a minute. Morgan Charrier just lost in UFC London to Nathaniel Wood.
Yes. Nothing wrong with that. I think Nathaniel Wood's the damn boy, dude. We all love Nathaniel Wood.
He's an absolute dog. I gained so much respect for him in that fight, man. He looked like he was just piecing him up. Morgan Charrier had no answers for him. He just was too slow. I was kind of pissed at Morgan because I did pick him in that fight. I was like, oh, he's
really?
Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't me doubting Nathaniel Wood. It was me just big on Morgan Charrier. And that's the spot that I want to be in right now. I want to be big on Morgan Charrier, but he kind of let me down in his last fight. And Nate Landwehr, this is his hometown. This is like Nate the Train main event for Nate Landwehr here. I bet when he walks out there, he's going to be looking for big moments. He's been in wars where he's come back from, dealt with adversity and won the fight. It's all up to the first round here. I think if Nate's getting destroyed in the first round, it's going to stay that way. I know I just said if he battles through adversity, but he's got to do something big in the first round. I think he's got to gain Morgan Charrier's respect, just like Nathaniel Wood did. And if he does, and Morgan kind of chills out, he's being more patient because he feels Nate's power, doesn't want to get hit with those strikes again. I think he's going to be evading more on the back foot. And as in a fight, you don't want to do that. Nate Landwehr, I think he's ready for this opportunity. This is a big name for him. But I think as an underdog pick here, this is one of my first underdog picks, I believe. I'm kind of leaning towards Nate Landwehr in his hometown.
Yeah. And I know Nate's coming off that KO or really TKO loss to Doo Ho Choi. But I think this is the perfect sort of flip. I mean, they pick specific people to be on specific cards and they give them specific matchups. I think this is a perfect storm for Nate to come out and win a pretty lopsided unanimous decision. Reason I say that is obviously Morgan has shown that he does have a decent chin. And Nate's one of those guys, again, we talk about whenever he's on, he's on. And whenever he's off, he could still come back and be on a little bit. I mean, he has weathered storms in the past. So I'm gonna say, Nate by my unanimous decision, but and I don't want that for Morgan because again, we saw what Nathaniel Wood did to him whenever somebody presses on the gas and really just like hits you with volume. But I think that's what's gonna happen again here.
That's Nate Landwehr's whole game plan throughout his whole career is pressure and volume.
Cardio.
Yeah. So I think he implements that against Morgan. I think he's going to have the crowd behind him. It's just going to fuel his cardio even more because he won't want to let them down. And I expect some big moments from Nate Landwehr where I just don't know what big moments Morgan Charrier is going to have. Yeah, he could clip him with a clean shot, but I don't know if he's even going to follow up on that, if he's going to be more patient and just kind of wait for him to recover and come back to him because that's his whole game plan. So it's going to be a fun one to watch. This one's for the fans. Featherweights, they always put on great bouts.
Well, we're going to one right after this too. That's also going to be, I think,
facts.
Going to be interesting.
And also something about Morgan. He is from Paris, so he does have like the he has to acclimate to the America and the time zone here. And I'm not
Time difference. Yeah. I haven't seen anything on when he came over or how much work
exactly. I
like he's
didn't,
doing
didn't
over.
see any of that. So I'm gonna just he's so mysterious in a way, even though he's so big on social media. He's like a big, huge superstar over in Paris. Just I think Nate Landwehr, he's got the clout, he's got the aura in this one, and he's gonna get the win.
Yeah. No way a Frenchman beats a cowboy, man. We ain't doing that shit.
Exactly.
No, it's Morgan. Nice shit. Good dude.
Steve Garcia versus Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar is getting a little bit older, but a fun fact about Calvin Kattar, he's never been knocked down in a UFC fight. Kind of incredible for as long as he's been fighting in the UFC. Steve Garcia was booked to fight against Edson Barbosa. I believe that fight fell through a couple times. And I just think he's ready for somebody who could kick, could punch, could grapple, could do everything. And Calvin Kattar is kind of a boxer now in his career. He kind of likes to stand on the feet and have these kind of wars. I think Garcia is going to just immediately pressure him, kicks, and dominate the distance and frustrate Calvin Kattar to where he'll take chances rushing in the distance, and Garcia could clean spark him, knock him down. First knockdown in Calvin Kattar's UFC career is my prediction, and I think Steve Garcia is going to win a decision here. Could be split. Calvin Kattar could have some moments, but I think Garcia is where I'm leaning on this one, and he is the favorite as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Steve Garcia's record here. I mean, Chase Hooper, Cal Nelson. I mean, it's like and not anybody saying that Chase Hooper's got the best shit in the world, but he's a pretty high profile dude. It's been around for a minute. I think it's one of those things where I don't know. It was very. I have a soft spot for Calvin Kattar. I actually legitimately do like watching anybody who comes in as a boxer and then really does it.
Yeah,
he did. It's unfortunate when anybody has one of those lopsided losses to like someone like Max Holloway, where Holloway looks next level, obviously. So people forget how good of a boxer Calvin Kattar actually was and is, and that's the whole reason that Holloway was even screaming, "I'm the best boxer in the UFC," is because he took it personally when people said that he couldn't box necessarily.
yeah,
And put that on Kattar. I think Kattar's really good, and to your point, I think he also, never been knocked out. I think it's a pretty good. It's one of those things where it's like my heart's telling me, Kattar, I want him to get back at it. You know what I mean? And sort of become. You forget, like, remember he was like one of those highly touted prospects coming in, years ago, and I was a huge fan of his. But my head's telling me Steve Garcia. I think he has more weapons in general to beat him, and he's pretty slick. And slight reach advantage and height advantage. I mean, not that that's going to make much of a difference. I just think his style in general is up to beat.
He's a tough style to beat. He just throws a lot. But Calvin Kattar, if he had a few more wins in his career, we're talking like Hall of Famer. Like he fought Dan Ige, lost, Jeremy Stevens win, Max Holloway lost, Arnold Allen lost, Josh Emmett lost, and then he beat Giga Chikadze, but then he lost to Aljamain Sterling, lost to Yusuf Zalal. So if he's knocking down these guys, we're like, man, the respect's on his name. And I just think in a betting perspective, the respect isn't there. He loses these close decisions. He always loses the decision. He doesn't win those decisions, unfortunately. And I think just the stylistic way that Steve Garcia fights, he's going to edge out the decision win again. And it's going to be kind of heartbreaking for all the Calvin Kattar fans who I know you are, and I am slightly as well, because he does have a good style of fighting. But it's just he's getting older. Like I mentioned, I think he is, how old is he? 30-something for sure. Let me look this up. 37 years old.
30. Wow.
And Steve Garcia is 33, so he's really reaching his prime right now, I believe. If Steve Garcia was fighting Edson Barbosa, I'd probably lean Steve Garcia. And that's crazy, So I got to leave him out here again over Calvin Kattar. But I hope Calvin Kattar goes all 15 minutes. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, this has potential to be a war, as we're talking about. So,
yeah, I think so. Featherweight belts, I love them. But I also
Good.
like welterweight a lot too. Stephen
Man,
Thompson, Gabriel Bonfim.
this is
Legend.
another one just of heartbreakers.
It is a heartbreaker.
I went to college 30 minutes away from Stephen Thompson, big time South Carolina guy. Love I've heard nothing but nice things about the guy. Legitimately a sweetheart of a human being. I would love to profile him for Man on the Mat. I
Yeah.
think he's an incredible dude. Gabriel Bonfim's on another level, dude. I mean, this guy is fucking. I mean, it's crazy. And I didn't even write any sort of description or qualifiers here. I just said Bonfim by submission. I just think he's gonna get. I think he's gonna get it done, dude.
I also believe in Gabriel Bonfim, but he hasn't fought the toughest of competition. When you look into his competitions, he got knocked out in the second round to Nicholas Dalby, and then he had Tervon Gillis, who's that? Minor Laziez, who's that? Ange Lusa, who loses to everyone, it seems like, who's a great fighter, though. And then a win over Callan Williams. And now he's getting a big step up in Stephen Thompson. He's getting into the rankings now. This is his big shot to put himself in the top 15, right? He's 27 years old, 17-1. You hate picking against somebody who's 27, 17-1. You hate doing
who's he fighting? Yeah.
But it's like, does Stephen Thompson have the type of style to walk somebody down in the first round and get a KO? He's not necessarily a KO artist at this point in his career, right? He gets KO'd. Could be a little setup here for Gabriel Bonfim to get the KO. Like you said, he's a great guy. I did bump into him in UFC 313 while I was in Vegas, and he was just giving so much love to his fans. He's such a he knows the position he's in. He knows what he's accomplished, and he's very humble and no ego at all. Just a great guy. But I don't think he's doing all the flips anymore. I don't think he's as athletic as he once was, unfortunately. I think Bonfim's going to put on a show here. What was that fight? It was against Andre Luce, I think is his name. But he looked absolutely phenomenal in his last fight. I remember watching his last fight against Callan Williams and just being like, holy shit, this guy is different level. Like the shit he was throwing, the kicks he was throwing. That's how Thompson used to look when he was coming into the UFC. So,
well, and that's the other thing as well, and that's the only reason I'm picking against Steven is it's not just the age, it's the style with the age. I mean, we've seen guys, for some reason, heavyweights always stick around longer than they should, you know what I mean? And those guys get bigger and they can still, if they were sluggers in the beginning, they're sluggers in the end. Steven's pretty solid counter striker. I mean, that stabbing side kick that he throws, all the spinning back kicks that he throws, I mean, it's all counters. And so you come forward, I counter you. And in recent fights, we've seen just that the age catches up with you. You can't be a counter striker forever. You can't be a counter puncher forever. It's one of those things where it's like your timing and your fast twitch muscle fibers are going to go sooner than anything else. And I think this kid's just on the rise, this Gabriel Bonfim. So, I'm picking him myself.
Kind of expose that. I'd like to see Gabriel Bonfim win here, then fight like maybe a Michael Morales or Carlos Prates.
Yeah.
Carlos is booked, so maybe Michael Morales is perfect after this one if he has a good performance. But even Joaquin Buckley, who knocked out Stephen Thompson, I'd love for Gabriel to maybe win one more and see what happens with Buckley and get that fight booked too. So I do like the matchups for Bonfim if he gets the win here, where it's like if Stephen Thompson gets the win, it's like I don't even care to see.
Where's he going next?
Like he's just gonna take away a sick fight from somebody else. Like he's 12th right now. If he wins this one and then he gets Michael Morales and KO'd, like I don't care to see that. I'd rather be more competitive in Gabriel Bonfim. I think just the pressure, the versatility in his striking game. This one won't go to the ground. Obviously, these guys are two very skillful kickboxers. So I think it's going to stay on the feet and just, like you said, it's going to be counter striking from Thompson to like constant pressure of Bonfim. And I just
think Bonfim have some subs though.
He should probably, but he does.
I thought that's what
76% win average by sub.
That's so insane.
That could also
did see
be a possibility in this one for
sure. I saw him. That's what I had him. I had him by sub.
That's probably
but off a knockdown. I mean, and you know, we don't have to pull that, but that's what I would pick is him knocking him down and then grabbing onto a neck or something.
Yeah, he won't shoot for a takedown, but he will knock him down in this fight. That's
Yeah.
If you could bet that, bet it, because Stephen Thompson's getting knocked down for sure in this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, we hate to see it, but it keeps his hands low. So
You do hate to see it. A lot of favorites I'm kind of leaning towards on this card,
yeah. And then
except
we get to it, man.
except for this main event. Derek Lewis is a 3-1 underdog against Taliesin Teixeira, who's one win in the UFC. Yeah, he's really fought nobody, and everyone's so big on him because he has this undefeated record, first
Yeah.
round finish, hype, and it's like Derek Lewis, man, he has what, the most knockouts in UFC history with like 14 or 15 knockouts. I
At
think
least
he's
in heavyweight,
I think he's going to be able to knock him out in this one. I don't understand the
That's
odds at
dude,
all.
everything I'm in 100% agreement with you. Everything here has Derek Lewis upset written all over it, dude.
It
And I
does.
know people are gonna knock us for that, but like, dude, come on, man. Got a guy with an undefeated record from Brazil. He's 6'7", he's 263 pounds, he's 83. Everything he's got, 83 inches to Lewis's 79. Everything is screaming Derek Lewis throws an uppercut from hell, throws a fucking overhand right from God knows where, and just absolutely sleeps a dude that we were all of a sudden being like, there might be a contender.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so like, I don't know. The guy stands tall too. I mean, no, but I mean, at whatever, six,
He
seven in
stands
there, it's
really
hard
tall.
not to
Yeah.
stand tall. He stands super tall, and I don't know. Yeah, Derek Lewis is Derek Lewis, baby. We got, I mean, he's fucking dropping dudes. Even at his age, 40 to what's this guy's?
Yeah,
He's
that's the thing.
15.
It's just the 40 years old, and I think that's what the bookers look at. Vegas is looking at and just being like, yeah, he's too old. 2 years ago, he went 5 rounds with Jordan Almeida.
Yeah,
He had a knockout win in the first round. His next fight after that, lost to Spivak, but then came back, got a knockout win. He's coming off that knockout win. I don't understand the odds here at all. Who did Taliesin Teixeira beat that we're hyping him up this hard?
he
Let
looked
me
surprised too whenever he debuted. He was like, "Oh, that was it. That was the whole fight."
Yeah, versus Tafa, it ended in 35
Yeah,
seconds
he was like, "Oh,
with an elbow against the cage. I remember that.
yeah,
Justin Tafa, not the other Tafa. So
not Junior." I know. I keep mixing him up.
this is the fat Tafa. We'll just call one the fat Tafa now, and the other one the light heavyweight guy, the more ripped one. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
I'm going to look at his Tapology right now. I want to see what kind of knockouts he's coming off of. So besides just his UFC win. So his Dana White Contender Series match, first round knockout. LFA, he had a head kick knockout. LFA, first round, another head knockout. So he's got these knockouts. He's got a lot of knockouts. So I guess that's what people are thinking. He's going to knock out Lewis in the first round. I do remember when Derek Lewis fought Cyril Gahn. This was way back now, 2021-ish. And I was like kind of disappointed in Derek Lewis's cardio at times. He could kind of look fat in fights. But I think this is like a good spot for him. This Taliesin Teixeira guy's got the hype, but he's also like hasn't been tested. And it's 5 rounds, which I actually think favors Derek Lewis a lot here. He's just got to handle the storm with Taliesin Teixeira in the start. But I don't think that Taliesin Teixeira is going to be the one pressuring this fight. I think Derek Lewis is. I think he's going to be stronger, the stronger, heavier hands guy. And I think he has decent wrestling as well. So if it does get tricky, if he does get tapped and he doesn't like it, he could take it to the ground. He just beat Curtis Blades not too long ago as well. He's beaten the best of the heavyweight division, to be honest.
Yeah.
And he's hanged with the best. I'm going to probably hammer Derek Lewis live here. If we get that payment in, I'm probably going to smack like a $500 bet on Derek Lewis and tune into the watch party next Saturday to see if I cash on that. But I'm feeling confident in this pick, which is weird because he is a 3-1 underdog.
I mean, you're talking me into. I thought I was going to be crazy coming into it with this. I was like, I'm going to completely throw Cody off here at the end. But I 100% agree. I think it's one of the. It's perfect storm for an upside. Exactly for Derek Lewis. And I don't know. I don't care anything. We know exactly what we get with him. Every fight he comes in being like, I'm going to work on my cardio. And it's like, no, you're not. You're going to throw bombs, dude. You're going to throw one fucking huge bomb. You're going to drop a guy, and then you're going to be like, well, I guess I don't need to work on cardio anymore. Over the third round, like,
yeah,
it's Yeah, we know exactly what we're gonna get with Derek Lewis. Hopefully, Towson Teixeira knows exactly what he's gonna get with Derek Lewis and game plans that accordingly. Not game planning in the sense of I hope he doesn't try to wrestle his way to anything and smother a guy, smother those hands, but because that'll make for a boring main event. But
Yeah.
we'll see, man. I'll say this: if we get a Derek Lewis win, it's going to be a more entertaining fight. At least that's the way I'm seeing it as of right now.
Mhm.
I don't see Towson Teixeira come marching across the octagon and absolutely just destroying him in the first round. I mean, that'd be crazy. And if that was the case, that'd be the end of Derek Lewis because
Exactly. Yeah.
we've never seen that happen to him. So
Yeah. I agree. I just don't want to be on the opposite side of this one where Derek Lewis gets a huge knockout and I have nothing on it as a 3-1 underdog. I'm gonna not be able to sleep at night if that's the case. And if he gets knocked out, it's just a sad story for Derek Lewis.
yeah,
Towson Teixeira, I don't even know who they give him next if he gets a win here. These guys are both out of the rankings now, so it's like this is just getting you into the top 15. Who do you get next? Probably like a Mick Parkin or something, or there's a few other guys on the edge of the division too. But yeah, I'm surprised to see that you're on Derek Lewis as well. It makes me feel better about my pick. I'm sure Adam would have came in here with the Towson Teixeira hype. He usually picks the favorites. He's kind of lame. Also, he wins a lot more of his picks than I do. So we are taking a risk here, taking the underdog. But we did share a lot of, I think, pretty much every pick we shared the same pick.
almost. Yeah. Let me see if there's
Or
any.
Nate Landwehr, you're on Nate as well, right?
Yeah, the only thing that I had initially different, but you talked me into it, was the Jake Matthews. I had Jake Matthews at going the distance and winning, but I flipped up on that one. I was
I
like,
think
there's
he's
no
an
way.
underdog for a reason, man. I really do.
Yeah. I didn't see that one happening. So,
In him until he gets a big knockout, and he hasn't had that yet. So, and it's not going to be against Chitty, in my opinion.
yeah, I don't know if it's a good sign or bad that you don't always you're losing more than Adam is, and I'm picking almost every pick the same as you, dude. But I I will say we'll see how it goes, man. If we get it the way that we want it, it's going to be a more entertaining night of fights than the other way
Exactly.
around. So I'm
Exactly.
fine with that.
Exactly. Well, that's pretty much it for the show. Make sure you guys tune in to next Tuesday. There will be another episode of Man on the Mat. Shout out to Hayden. You guys can follow his content on Instagram at Hayden Talks IF, similar to my account. If you guys are interested in more of my content, Cody Talks IF. We're live every Thursday, giving you guys our picks and predictions for UFC cards at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for next Thursday for that. And then I'll be live on Saturday for the watch party, probably winning every single pick I just predicted and finally cashing out on one of these UFC cards. I'm not going to lie. It's been
a minute.
It's been a long time since I won. I'm waiting to see my ROI here, some big return on investment on this card on Derek Lewis. He's going to give me that ROI. Anything you want to promote before we sign off?
Not just yet. Just follow the account. Yeah, we're gonna have a good episode coming up. It's gonna be Christian Dexter. He's the current lightweight Warriors Cup champion, which is like one of the largest amateur Muay Thai organizations, and yeah, he beat the shit out of me. So it's gonna be fun to watch. I will say, super funny guy, and good interview. So
very cool. I'm excited to see it. Thank you for everybody who watched, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace.
sounds good.